Hey, to a few people have asked me to do a little pros and cons list about being in Puerto Rico. I'm going to try my hardest to do it. I took some notes, and I'm not really sure how. I'm going to talk about my experience. I've been to Puerto Rico many times. This is the first time that I've stayed for an extended period. I've been here since August. I love it. I really do. I do. So I can't really say that there's anything that I dislike about the island. I can't. There are things that I love less. That's the word I'm going to use. That I love less. But not so much the things that are like, you know, deal breakers about visiting or staying for an extended time. I am going to start with my things that I don't like as much, that I love a little less. And let me first also say that I am not in a metropolitan or urban area. I am definitely in, I guess, a rural area, I guess. I live in the valley of a mountain right across from the rainforest. So the rainforest definitely does get a lot of tourism, but the people who live here don't necessarily. I'm definitely I don't know the right word. I guess I don't have a lot of things that I can walk to. We do have a private beach entrance, but that's pretty much it. If no one's here in the complex, then I really don't see people that often, even though I know there are thousands of people not too far from me. So, with that said, my experience is my experience. I've been to all points of the island. Um, but I'm going to talk about the things that I love less, and it is just my experience. I would say I love these things less, but none of these are deal breakers. I would definitely say that if you're given the opportunity to visit Puerto Rico, jump on it. I think you should. I think because it gets a bum rap. So let me tell you the things that I love a little less. That's the term I'm going to use. The bugs. When I tell you the bugs. Now, I'm not talking about like the houses have roaches. No, 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 no. I'm talking about the bugs outside minding their business. There was a moth, and I'm 5'4", and I think he was probably 5'6", something like that. His wingspan to me looked like an eagle wingspan. He covered my screen door. I don't know what kind of Jurassic animal he was, but definitely the bugs. Um, the mosquitoes. Every morning I get up, every evening before I go to bed, I spray down with different, I have a couple of different bug sprays. And that is because I keep my windows and screen doors open for all day. So, I don't have bugs in my house, but bugs could easily fly in my house through a crack in the window or if I go outside for something. So bugs would be the very first thing. I'm going to say that. But again, not a deal breaker, just bigger than I thought they should be, really. Like, I don't understand. But this is a very touchy subject because I'm not well versed in it. But I'm going to say it. Shady government. Definitely shady government. Mismanagement of government, and the debt. I don't know how Puerto Rico would ever be able to pay back their debt. In my opinion, if they didn't have to pay so much import tax, if they didn't have to have so many things imported, if there was more job opportunity here, there wouldn't be as much debt. Again, I don't know anything about politics, so I am not going to do the injustice of trying to speak on it. I don't know. But as an outsider looking in, I think that there are so many countries that come and take advantage of certain tax perks that are here on the island, but it doesn't necessarily benefit the people who live here. So there's a lot of very educated people having to leave and go to other countries or to the United States mainland, and I just don't think that's fair. So that to me is something I love less. Like I said, the debt, the infrastructure, like the roads and the interstates. Now, I don't know what this might be pertaining to. I don't know if this is a lack of funding or if it's just because we are in a tropical environment. But you can see potholes in on the interstate. I have seen the same pothole with one of those orange cones in it since August. Seriously. The private roads are managed, but even with that, when we have a really massive rain, those private roads just fall apart. So I can't really say if it's mismanagement or if it's just a lot of rain. I don't really know what the answer is, but that's something that I would say you would have to get used to. As I touched on before, there aren't any jobs. So don't come here saying, oh, I'm going to find a job at such and such, such and such. No, there are no jobs. There are very educated people here with no jobs. Now, I'm not going to pretend that everyone here is super educated, but there are quite a few people here with multiple degrees working at Walmart, Burger King, other things like that. So, it is definitely no jobs is something that I think that the United States needs to resolve as Puerto Rico as a territory. Now, I don't know the politics. This is just my opinion, and I could be a complete novice, and I don't mean to be disrespectful. That's just my opinion. For me, the island gets a bum rap. They do. You tell people, I'm going to Puerto Rico, or they're like, oh my God, this is the crime, and oh my God. Honey, stop. It's crime everywhere. It's crime everywhere. So I don't think Puerto Rico is any different than any other place, in my opinion. I've been coming to the island and staying for extended periods. This is the longest I've stayed, and I'll be here until August. I've never had any issue with crime. Never. I've never seen it. Never. Now, I do think that it's probably isolated to certain people who are in a criminal element. Then, of course, you're going to have crime. If you're selling cocaine and you get shot in the face, then you might have a different experience. But it's my opinion. The whole island is treated like it is full of gangsters, and it isn't. That's not the case. La Perla. La Perla is right next to Old San Juan. So they see millions of tourists. Millions of tourists. La Perla is a combination of a beautiful place with the projects, homes with sinkholes, and deed restricted homes, maybe a farm or two in there as well. And I don't mean that as an injustice. I don't mean that, because the people in La Perla are good people. Those are hardworking people. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying everyone there is, on the up and up, but I think most people are. La Perla just so happens to be prime real estate. Prime real estate. It is in Old San Juan, and they have been trying to get the people from La Perla to move forever. And the people won't move. And I don't think they should until they are offered real money. They are right next to a historic graveyard, and I don't want to mispronounce the name, so I won't try to quote it. And they are right in the heart. I mean, literally, they have the best real estate in Old San Juan. I've been to La Perla, not on purpose, but I've been there twice. And because I do like architecture and things like that, I get captivated when I go through Old San Juan and driving around. And La Perla is one wrong turn and you're in La Perla. So I was visiting the graveyard and taking pictures of the ocean and things, and the Atlantic and the forts and all this kind of stuff. And I was following a car thinking that I was going to get out, and it wasn't a way out. The people there were very helpful, very kind. I was getting on their nerves because I was pulling up into their house, and they're like, who the hell are you? I just need help. There are no street signs. So I was following someone who was clearly from that area, and she went home and parked, and I just thought that she was leaving. I don't know why I thought that. And I ended up getting stuck in there, but I did not have a bad experience. And like I said, I've been to La Perla a couple of times. And, I just think it's a coincidence that the people with the prime real estate get the worst treatment. And all these people are so bad, right? They're so bad. All of them are just criminals, but they all work in Old San Juan servicing, I'm not going to say all, but a lot of them work in Old San Juan, servicing the very tourists. Those areas want their land. It's just that simple. And if you want their land and they don't want to sell, you have to respect that. But I guess you could always say they're criminals. Every neighborhood has criminals. There's no area, maybe an Amish village or a Quaker place, I don't know, but every area has criminals. For me, another thing that I love less, the internet. I am very dependent on the internet usage. I don't know if it's because I'm in the valley of a mountain. I don't know, but my internet service has been rather intermittent, and that is something that drives me insane because I am a type A personality. When I start working, I need to be able to work. I'm looking in the spreadsheet, I'm moving, I'm trying to do whatever, and it just freezes up, and I can't do anything for extended periods of time. That's something that I would think about if you are a digital nomad. A power bill. This is a really interesting thing. The power bill, a few months ago, they had a really bad power outage. But even before that, electric services or utilities in general in Puerto Rico are more expensive. I think they're equivalent to maybe New York or so forth. I do not have central heat and air. I don't need it, fortunately, because I do get a lot of a breeze. But I do have a window unit. I have a washer, a dryer, a stove, refrigerator, water heater. I guess just the basics, just not really central heat and air. And my bill can vary anywhere from $130 a month to $200 a month. So what I found is very productive for me is to cut off certain items from the fuse box, and that will actually reduce my bill. But the utilities in Puerto Rico are definitely more expensive than I would have imagined. It's not really a diabetic friendly or a sleeve friendly place. They're not known for portion size, and it's very difficult to find sugar-free items, just like sugar-free hot cocoa or they are here. They're not as plentiful, and they're very expensive. So I would certainly say that is not easy. And diabetes is rampant. There are a lot of people with swollen limbs begging for money because they clearly can't work. But diabetes, that is a shock to me to see so many diabetics here. But the whole island is just full of food, delicious, outstanding, great food. But if you're already a sugar baby, the last thing you need to have is sugar. So it's not really a diabetic friendly place. As far as buying foods that are sugar-free or portion control. Next thing is telephone customer service. Hunty. When you do reach someone, no one's rude. I don't mean it like that. But when I'm talking about money or business, I need to speak in English. My Spanish is very limited, and even though I may understand that person, I don't feel comfortable speaking back, and I want to make sure that I'm being understood if we're talking about money or utilities or whatever. And I will press the prompt for English, and I'll get to someone, and they don't speak English, and we'll just keep doing that 3-4 times over. That will try your patience. But anyway, again, not a deal breaker, something to be prepared for. The food here is outstanding. Like I said, it is not known for portion control. It is not, but it's delicious. The thing that I would say it needs is diversity. There is a lot of Creole food here, and it is outstanding. There's a lot of seafood here. I've only seen one Caribbean spot. There might be more, but I've only seen one. A lot of sushi, a lot of Chinese. A couple of a few Mexican spots. Not so much American food, like what we would look for, wings, burgers, pizza, things like that. There are some, gyros, things like that. There are some, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's not as common. I do think that they have a lot of food, and maybe, I don't know, like I'm not too far from the Luquillo Kioscos, and there's literally a strip right there in front of the beach of 45 different restaurants, and I'll say probably 30 of them are selling Creole food. Good, not knocking it. I'm just saying that's something that I don't even know what I could say I'd like to see there. I can't really. I don't know. It's You know, when you go and you see two restaurants right next door to each other selling exactly the same thing, it's just different, But I say buy a little something from both. Just saying that. I don't like crowds. So another thing that I love less are touristy joints. Things that are set up specifically for tourists. Don't get me wrong. People got to do it. They got to do it. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's not something that I really like being around. Oh, there are lots and lots of stray animals, like stray dogs. You can tell that they're hungry. You stray cats, you can tell they're hungry. That breaks my heart. That absolutely breaks my heart. I live in a gated community, but every now and then you do see packs of, I'll say maybe 3 or 4 times I've seen packs of animals come off the beach, because even though the front, the security guards and stuff would not permit them in, and we're kind of like got a little water or something, so it'd be more difficult for them to get in from the front of the complex. But from the back, it's a private beach entrance, so can't stop anything coming from the beach area. And there's a lot of strays. There are a lot of stray dogs and cats, and that's heartbreaking to me. I was feeding them, to be quite honest, but it was becoming a problem because I was, I think, causing them more problems because I was feeding them and they were getting into the habit of coming to my place, and security was having an issue with that. So that's something that sucks. Driving. Oh, I can't even explain it. I just, it's just something that I don't think it's a Puerto Rican thing, where not a Puerto Rican, I don't think it's an island thing. I think it's, I don't even know what to say. I just can't. I'm going to say that medians are, you can drive over them if you choose. Red lights are optional. If you are stopped at a red light and there is no traffic, you could get blown at or expected to go if there's nothing in the way. But I'm going to stop because the light is red, I'm that green driver that slows down on the yellow light, and that's not really appreciated here. That just blows me. I've never, that's another thing that's so peculiar to me. I see police officers, ambulances, mostly police officers riding with their lights on. I don't understand that. So I'm thinking, as a driver, if you're getting behind me and you have your lights on, then it might be something you need to talk to me about. So I'm prepared. But no, they just literally just ride with their lights on, and I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. That's interesting to me. As far as the ambulance is concerned, I don't see people move out of the way of ambulances. That blows me. Like, you can see an ambulance coming and people continue to drive. I don't understand it, I don't get that. I don't understand it. Lack of public transportation. There is not any, I shouldn't say that. There are buses in the strangest places, I'll say that. But there isn't necessarily a strict or an adhered to schedule. So if you had a particular work schedule that you needed to keep up with, that might be difficult. And I don't see public transport very, very prevalent on the island. I do see, every once in a while, I'll see someone standing at an unmarked spot. So I guess that's a bus stop. Oh my gosh, school buses. When I tell you, my nerves are so bad when I'm driving behind a school bus. You know how in the States, we stop and the bus driver has to put those red things out and they let, and you're supposed to stop and let the children know? None of that happens here. Nope. It doesn't happen. Or at least in my experience, what I've seen, it doesn't happen. First of all, a lot of the buses are tricked out. I mean, music, tinted windows, decorated. I mean, just sharp as whoa. Rimmed out. I guess those are rims. I don't know. But they don't stop. They don't put the little red things out for the traffic to stop to let the child cross the street. They don't do that. That just, Anyways, and this might just be a cultural thing, and there are many cultures here. So I'm not going to say it's a Puerto Rican thing because I can't say that. There are so many different cultures here. The things that we would consider manners, like please and thank you, excuse me, things like that, are not necessarily the same here. You could see someone bump into you, or where in the States we would, oh, excuse me, that would be the traditional thing. Here it's not so much. But other things, the emphasis is on other things, like, being courteous to your to elders and things like that. Being friendly. I'm not saying people aren't friendly. That's not what I mean. People are very friendly. Will go out of their way to help you. Very friendly people. However, the whole thing of manners is very different. I don't know how to explain that. I was in the airport once, and a lady was walking with her. She had two wheeled suitcases in either hand, and she was just walking, and she was hitting people on either side. And I was just observing, and she hit maybe 3 or 4 people, and they just, kind of just say, nobody was mean, but she hit someone, was like, hold on, and it became a little bit of a rude situation. And when that person spoke up, that's when she decided to say, excuse me, or whatever. And she wasn't trying to be rude. She just wasn't thinking about it. Another time at the airport again, young man standing at the ticket booth, his suitcase fell over. Gentleman behind him picked it up and handed it back to him. And the boy didn't say anything. And this guy was like, you're welcome. And again, it wasn't done on purpose. It just wasn't. It's just different. I can't explain it. And I don't think it's an attempt to be rude. I just think it's different than what we would expect in the States. So those are 21 minutes of things that I love a little less than the things that I love the most. So things that I absolutely love. The food. No, seriously. Even though it's the same food most of the time, the food. For real. It's awesome. It's just awesome. I cannot. Mofongo is probably one of my favorite things ever. So you have this rich African food, this fresh meat, fresh fruits and vegetables, mangoes the size of my face. Why? Give me that. Avocados the size of my whole head. Yes. And, food being cooked for you fresh, I just absolutely appreciate that. Going to the grocery stores and being able to get dinner cooked for you. That's awesome. Yes. Bacalao, salted fish, whole section of that. That is just something that, I don't see very often in the States. And it's something I appreciate here. Going to the grocery store, there's this one store here. It's a couple that I actually like a lot, but Ralph's is one of my favorites. And just kind of going places and, getting fresh made food. I appreciate that. So anyways, whole nother thing on food. People are generally very, very friendly, and they will go out of their way to help you. Even if they don't speak English, they will try to help you. And I have been helped, and people have been very courteous. I don't know how to explain that, but they are very friendly, and I'm speaking in generalities, and I don't mean to be insulting, but I've never had a rude experience. Ever. Actually, let me think. I did have a little bit of a traffic incident in La Perla where this guy thought I was blocking him, but he was the only rude person. But whatever. But other than that, in all the 7 or 8 years that I've been coming, I think it's been that long, I've never had a rude encounter. Never. Even when I'm dealing with someone who clearly doesn't speak English and my Spanish sucks, they'll still try to help me. And I think that is so kind. I really do. I think that is generally very kind people here. The island itself, like literally the island is gorgeous. Gorgeous. The people are gorgeous. The island itself is gorgeous. I think it's topography is the word that I'm looking for, but I'm talking about the beaches are the rainforest, waterfalls, mountains. If you're into sailing, if you're into water sports, this is definitely a place to do it. There is a lot of land here that I feel is not being utilized appropriately. If you have a green thumb, this would be a great place for you to come and grow food for yourself. If you are so inclined, that would be awesome. But the topography here is just outstanding. multicultural. I cannot even explain as an African American woman from the States. Now, my man is Puerto Rican. Half of my family is Puerto Rican. So I don't know. Maybe I just didn't pay it attention. I don't know. But when I come here, you definitely can't tell who's Caucasian, who's Asian, who's African, who's Haitian, who's Italian, who's French, and they're all here. Literally, they're all here. That's just amazing to me, and I think that Tainos, the Indian culture should be celebrated more. Don't get me wrong. There is something very strange, and I think that's with any place that has been colonized. You have people who will embrace their oppressor and not necessarily any other aspect of their DNA. I don't know how to explain that. I'm not even going to get into that, but it is a multicultural place, and I definitely appreciate that. It is very strange to go into a Chinese restaurant or a Japanese sushi spot and they only speak Spanish. I, I don't know what to do. Like, what? You don't speak English? You only speak Spanish? Stop playing. Okay, we gon' that's interesting to me. That's awesome, really. It's really nice. Can I tell you? Let me go back to the food because this is really very, very doggish. Okay, so they have donuts and ice cream, but they actually use the donuts to put, like, instead of an ice cream cone, it's actually a donut. Who told you to do that? Thank you. No, I can't get it, but my grandson gets it. And my other family members, they enjoy that. But Lord, who told y'all to put ice cream inside of a donut? What? A Nutella donut with ice cream? Anyway, okay, other things that I love. The history of the island is amazing. It just really is, it is very, and each place is very different. Ponce is different than San Juan. San Juan is different than Old San Juan. Mayaguez is different than Fajardo. They're very, very distinctly different places. Cagas. It's just an amazing place to be. For such a small island, there's a lot. You can never go on people kill me when they go on a cruise ship and they're like, oh, I went to El San Juan, I went to Puerto Rico. No, you were, no, you didn't. But okay. But it's just, it's just an island that I think that people should explore more. If you like doing caves, zip lining, I don't know, it's just so much, it's just really a lot. The architecture. The architecture is amazing. Literally seeing the cobblestone streets in Old San Juan and just some of the buildings like the old firehouses and some of the buildings that have the colonial type build to them. And I can't really say that because there's so many, I shouldn't say just colonial because there's a lot of different mixtures of architecture, and I absolutely appreciate that. Marshlands, definitely. It is just, it's overwhelming. Like, it's just, I don't think you could ever get bored if you are a people watcher or a nature watcher or something like that. Yeah. Very, very educated people. I cannot even express how bizarre it is to be at Walmart and the bagger has 2 degrees. Not knocking Walmart, but I'm sure you didn't have a degree in bagging. What the hell is going on? But that goes back to the economy, and I'm not even going to go there. But the people here are very smart. Very, very smart. There's a lot of college campuses here. I think that there are a lot of college campuses all over the island because there's not that much public transportation. I don't know. But they could probably be collapsed down into, take some of the smaller, what word am I, campuses and put them together. But I think if they had more public transportation, it would be less. I don't know, but it's a lot of very educated people here. And animals are free range. No, literally, like seriously, you can be driving and there's a herd of cattle and they have the right of way. Okay. And they're owned. Horses run free. You just like, is there a horse on the baseball field? Oh, okay. Or you're driving in the mountains and somebody's horse is just going down the mountain too. Okay. I mean, and they're clearly owned and maintained. They're not, I'm not talking about like stray animals, like, not like that, but, that's just very interesting to me. I think it's kind of cool, they're not caged. They're not at all. The horses and cows are not caged. They're not. The iguanas here are huge, 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 huge. And when you see, if you're in the States, you can see roadkill, right? It's so strange to see iguanas as roadkill. I mean, they're like big as cats. That trips me out. And I'm not putting that down as something I love. No, not dead animals. That's not what I meant. It was just something else I was talking about. Is free range animals that you will see roaming the street that you're just like, what? What the heck is that? The coqui frogs. The coqui frogs. It's a beautiful story about coquis. You should look them up. But they are very, very small. Seriously, maybe 2 or 3 could fit in that. Can y'all see the palm? Anyways, I'm trying to show y'all the palm of my hand. It ain't that big. But maybe 2 or 3 little frogs could fit in your hand. But their voices are so strong. And I really do like keeping my windows open and listening to the coqui frogs in the evenings and in the mornings. Early mornings. The birds. First, let me tell you what Mr. did. Mr. DeJesus, my man, he was here last week, and like I said, I keep my back door open all the time. So I have birds that come up onto my porch. And do you know what that man asked me? He asked me, Sean, what are they saying? Did you just ask me what the bird was saying? How the hell am I supposed to know? Do I look like I speak toucan? What? Who says that? I couldn't with him. But what he was trying to say was, I needed him to explain this to me. Did you just ask me what a bird said? How am I supposed to know? Okay, anyways, he was trying to ask me, why are the birds so comfortable coming on your patio that close to you? Like, and are you feeding them? Are they, No. I guess he felt like he was here first. I don't bother him. I let him have his thing. Another thing that is kind of nice to do is to go get coconuts off the beach. Now, notice I said off the beach because I'm not climbing any trees. And having fresh coconut water and, getting your own coconut, being able to pick if you want a green coconut or a brown coconut and, determining what sweetness you want. On the speech on coconuts, something else that is very, very different here. You see a lot of men walking around in the tourist areas with machetes. Now, you know damn well, if you was in the middle of downtown Tampa or anywhere else, Tampa's not that big, but anywhere, you don't see nobody walking around with a machete. That's going to be all on the news. But here it's pretty normal because they use the machetes to climb up. Well, they climb the trees, get the coconuts down for you,